Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the season finale of The Bachelorette. Hey y'all, my name is Mara. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing my December wrap-up as a tier rank, but also as The Bachelorette. So this is going to be kind of confusing and kind of weird, so I'm so sorry if this is the first video you're ever watching on my channel. It's going to be an interesting one, but essentially what we're going to be doing today is my normal monthly reading wrap-up. But we're also going to be tier ranking it, and the categories for the tier rank are going to be different cast members of The Bachelorette. I just wanted to do something with The Bachelorette on my channel because I absolutely love The Bachelorette and The Bachelor. I am trash for it. I think it is so entertaining and so much fun to watch, and so I thought it would be kind of fun to do the categories as that today for my monthly tier rank. And also, if you guys like this, let me know and I can try and see if I can find some other things to base my tier ranks off of. I just thought it'd be fun to have a little bit of a theme to it. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the season finale of The Bachelorette. Okay, so I'm so excited. So essentially how we're going to be doing this today is first I'm going to take you guys through all the normal stuff I do in my tier ranks. So if you guys haven't watched any of these before, we're gonna break down some statistics. We're also gonna talk about my top 3 books of the month, and then we're going to get into the tier rank portion of this video. And so if you wanna skip over any of these parts, there's gonna be timestamps in the description below for you to pick what interests you the most. And there's also going to be a playlist in the description down below. If you like these tier ranking videos, I have a whole bunch of them, so you can go watch them all if you so desire. Without further ado, let's just jump into the statistics portion of this video. So in the month of December, I read 25 books and I DNF'd 1. I read 8,987 pages with an average page count of 359 pages per book. My average rating was a 3.47 out of 5 stars. I completed 17 out of the 18 books that I intended to at the beginning of the month, and I actually did finish all 18 of them. It's just I started one in December and I finished it in January, so I did complete my entire TBR, which is quite an accomplishment for me. Breaking it down by genre, I read 1 thriller, mystery, horror, 10 fantasy, 6 contemporary, 1 nonfiction, and 1 graphic novel. And then breaking it down by age range, I read 9 young adult, 1 new adult, 2 middle grade, and 12 adult. Breaking it down by format, I read 1 ebook, 16 physical books, 7 audiobooks, and 1 combination of an ebook and an audiobook. As far as the books that I DNF'd this month, I only DNF'd 1, and that was The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. This was not like a hard DNF. This is a book that I started when I was extremely sleep deprived in my 24-hour readathon, and I literally just couldn't comprehend anything that was going on, and so I listened to like maybe 45 minutes of the audiobook and then just said, no, I'm just gonna come back to this at a later time. Now, talking about my top 3 books of the month. The reason why I want to focus on these top 3 is because of the tier ranking format of this video. It just makes it hard to go in depth for each and every book that I read, so I want to focus on 3 that I really want to highly recommend to you guys, or that I just really love this month. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I've talked about Scythe a bajillion times on my channel, and I literally read it a month and a half ago, so I obviously love this book, and I will continue to talk about it and praise it because it is so good. If you don't know what Scythe is about, it's basically about this utopian society where death has been eradicated and people don't die naturally. So they have something called a scythe that will go and kill people. But if you're interested in hearing more of my in-depth thoughts for Scythe, I'll go ahead and link that 24-hour readathon vlog in the cards as well as in the description for you guys to go check out. But what I will say about this is just that I loved it so much. I'm currently reading the 2nd book in the series and I can't wait to finish it. The 2nd book that I want to highlight, I'll just really quickly mention, but it is one of my favorites that I read last month, so I do want to talk about it. That is City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. This is the 3rd book in the Mortal Instrument series, and it's sort of like a conclusion to the series. There's actually 6 books in the series, but there's like a first part and a second part, and I just thought that the conclusion was really beautifully done. I loved hearing about these characters and their relationships, and I just loved all the Jason Clary content because that is like my OG couple that I stand in middle school, so I just loved being back with those characters. The 3rd book that I want to highlight is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. I also read this for a 24-hour readathon. It was a separate one, so again, I will link it in the cards as well in the description if you want to check that out. I actually only gave this one 4 stars instead of 5 like the other 2 that I'm talking about in this category, but I still really enjoyed it. I think the reason why I didn't give this one 5 stars is because I did think it was a standalone, and that's not the book's fault, but I just felt like it could have been wrapped up and more condensed into one single book, but I still really loved it. This was a 1920s Shanghai Romeo and Juliet retelling, and if that doesn't hook you, like, I don't know what will, because that premise is incredible. And I really struggled to kind of categorize this into a single category because I feel like it reads like historical fiction, it reads like fantasy, there's also a really great mystery element to it, and there's a romance. So this is kind of just a smorgasbord of all these different categories and subgenres, and I think it's really beautifully blended together. If you haven't read These Violent Delights, I totally recommend you check it out. It was really great, the writing was beautiful, and that is a big reason as to why I love that book. So now that we've talked about my statistics and my top 3 of the month, we can move into the actual tier rank portion of this video. So really quickly, let's talk about the categories for the tier rank because this is themed to The Bachelorette, so I feel like you need a little bit of context to understand what these categories mean to me. Also, just so you guys know, there are going to be mild spoilers for The Bachelorette. Well, not mild, they're going to be spoilers. So if you don't want to know who Tayshia ends up with, I would click off this video because it's gonna be obvious when I start talking about it. So definitely go watch the season finale if you haven't yet, and then come back to this video so that you can watch me rank these if you really want to. So first off, the top category is going to be Tayshia. So this category is reserved for the best of the best because Tayshia is the best Bachelorette that I have ever watched. I haven't watched many seasons of The Bachelorette, but I know that she is the top tier because she is just so eloquent and kind, and she really cares about all these men on her season and all these guys that she was talking to. She was just so sweet and she didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings, and I just loved her so much. She's so strong and independent, but she also like knows what she's looking for, and oh, she was just such a wonderful Bachelorette to watch. I am so glad that Claire left the season and that Tayshia came in instead because it saved the entire show for me. Like, I was so annoyed when I was watching just Claire. Tayshia coming in literally was a dream come true because I love her so much. Then the second category is going to be Zach. So Zach is actually who Tayshia ended up choosing at the end of the show. This is her fiance, and they are so cute together, you guys. Like, when I was watching the proposal scene, I was just bawling my eyes out, ugly crying, because they're so cute together. You can tell how much they love each other and how much they want this to work. Zach is the second category because he is the winner. He is a clear winner. However, he was not my favorite man to watch during the show. I think that this season had a ton of phenomenal men to just talk to and like learn about. I really didn't dislike that many of them. There were only a handful that I really just didn't like. And even if I didn't like them, I didn't absolutely hate them, except for one. We're gonna get there. We just love Zach. He's a clear winner. He's just not on the same level as Tayshia for me or some of the other men that were on this season. So he is going to be like my 4-star range, and just books that I really, really enjoyed. Then the third category is going to be Brandon. So not Brendan, but Brandon. But Brandon is my favorite man from this entire season. He was on there for maybe like 2 weeks, but I'm in love with this man. And I am so sad that he was taken too soon from me. And this is the category for books that I feel like just missed the mark a little bit, but I still really loved them. And Brandon, I feel like, perfectly encaptures that because I loved him, but he was gone too soon for me to really get to know him. And so that's why Brandon is kind of the middle category. He's going to be my like 3-star-ish reads. They were average. I liked them, didn't love them, didn't hate them. Then we've got the Blake category. So Blake is a guy that I initially did not like at all. He gave me Luke P vibes from Hannah B's season, and he was just messy, did not like him. He was very controlling. He was very all over Claire, and I just did not like him. I didn't like him being on my screen. It was just not good. But once Tayshia came into the picture, he was a lot more calm, and I feel like he was really more settled. Like, he just was a lot better once Claire left, and I feel like the season ultimately was just better when Claire left. So Blake is one that I initially did dislike, but towards the end, I kind of felt sympathy for him, and I really did feel bad for him that Tayshia sent him home, especially in their hometowns, because he thought that he really had a chance with this girl and that that could be his wife. And so when he got sent home, it was kind of a blindside. So Blake is a category for my 2-star reads, books that really disappointed me, but ultimately I can see the merit in them and that I think really do have some value to them. They just might not have been the book for me. Then we have Ed. Ed is going to be the bottom tier because Ed is just the worst. Ed is so annoying. He is going to be my 1-star reads, books that I just absolutely hate and cannot recommend to anyone because I just did not like Ed. Then the last tier is going to be Paradise. So these are books that you're gonna find out my thoughts later on, similar to how you're gonna find out the people's love stories later on in Paradise. So now that I have extensively explained the categories, and I hope you guys can all understand what they mean, let's get into the ranking. So first and foremost, let's talk about Battle of the Labyrinth by Rick Riordan. This is an instant Tayshia because this is my favorite in the Percy Jackson series. It is top tier because of the Grover content and the character relationships. in this one. I just absolutely loved this book. I actually read this for the 24-hour readathon as well, so if you want more extensive thoughts, definitely go there. But if you don't know what Percy Jackson is, this is the 4th book in the series. Percy Jackson follows a young boy named Percy Jackson who finds out he's half god, half human, and he goes to this camp for half-bloods like himself, and then he goes on a quest with some of his friends and stuff happens, and it's just a really fun middle grade series that I really adored rereading this year. And I actually am going to go ahead and categorize The Last Olympian as well, which is the 5th and final book in the series. And I'm gonna put this one in the Zach category because I did really like this one, but ultimately it's not my favorite in the series. It's probably like the 3rd or 4th one that I like the most in the series. What I did like about this one is that it wrapped up the series really nicely, and I felt like all the characters got their appropriate ending, and it made me really excited to start the next series in the Percy Jackson universe, which is Heroes of Olympus. So I really liked this one. I gave it 5 stars as well, but it just barely didn't make the Tasha category for me. Then I have a bunch of books that I'm just gonna go ahead and put in Paradise because it's gonna be obvious what I'm doing if I talk about them. You probably already know what the video concept is, but I just wanted to include them in this video so that when I looked back and saw what I read in December, I had these categorized in there. So I'm gonna put The Jet Setters, I'm Still Here, The Last Story of Mina Lee, The Scent Keeper, The Henna Artist, Everything Inside. All of that goes into Paradise for now. I don't think I missed any of them. Yeah, so if you know what I'm doing for that video, comment down below. I'd love to know your guess. So the next book that I want to talk about is Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover, and I think I gave this one like a 2.25. So this book is an adult romance, and I just did not care for it. I don't know if Colleen Hoover and I really vibe or really gel together. I just don't really feel the same way towards her as like a lot of my friends do, which is really disappointing. I'm so sorry, Reagan, that I'm putting Ugly Love in the Blake category because I know this is your favorite book, but I just could not get into it. I thought I might like it more at certain points, and I can see why people like it, and I can see why it makes people cry. But I didn't care for the romance. I didn't really care about the characters. It was kind of meh for me. Then we have The 12 Dates of Christmas, which I'm going to also put in the Blake category. I think I gave this one 2 stars as well. This is in adult Christmas romance, and I read this for a Christmas romance reading vlog, which I'll put in the cards as well as in the description down below for you to go check out. The 12 Dates of Christmas is about a woman who goes on 12 dates before Christmas or after Christmas, somewhere around Christmas. I don't remember, but I just didn't care about it. Like, again, it's just one that I don't really have distinct feelings towards or distinct memories reading because it just was kind of boring, and there was way too many characters and way too many subplots, and I just didn't care for it. Then we have City of Ashes, which is the 2nd book in the Mortal Instrument series, and I'm going to put this in the Zach category because it's not my favorite in the series, and there's a really weird scene in the Sealy Court during this book that I just cannot forgive. I simply cannot. But I did really enjoy City of Ashes upon reread, but it's just not my favorite in the original Mortal Instruments series. So I don't think I explained earlier what the Mortal Instruments series is about. So if you don't know, it follows a young girl named Clary who has this encounter in a nightclub where she sees this group of people killing a boy. And these people actually say they're demon hunters, they're called shadow hunters, and so she kind of enters the world of the shadow hunters. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I love this series, like I've said a million times on my channel, and I think City of Ashes definitely belongs in the Zach category because I liked it. It's not my favorite. Then we have These Violent Delights, and I'm also going to put this one in the Zach category. I gave this one 4 stars, like I said. It's not a new favorite, but I definitely did want to highlight it in my top 3 because I feel like it's a book people should be reading. Then we have Saga Volume 1, and I'm gonna put this, I think I'm gonna put this in the Blake category. It's kind of close to being in the Ed category for me. I know a lot of people really love this graphic novel series. I am just not one of them. Saga is sort of a Star Wars comic book-esque series, and I don't really care for it. I didn't like the art style. I didn't really like the storyline. It was definitely action-packed, but I just didn't care about the action. So then we have The Deal of a Lifetime, which is a novella by Frederick Bachman that I read earlier in the month, and I'm gonna put this one in the Zach category. I gave this one 4 stars as well, I believe, and I did really like it, but it's not very memorable when I think about all the other Frederick Bachman books that I've read, but that's also just probably because it's a novella. It's very short. I think that it was like 45 minutes long on audiobook. Now, just because it was short does not mean it was less emotional. This book definitely packed a punch, and I definitely do recommend it maybe next holiday season if you're looking for a sadder book with a more hopeful tone and just a really, really quick read to kind of put you in the holiday mood or like to make you sad. Definitely recommend. Then we have Bunny by Mona Awad, and I think I'm also going to put this in the Zach category. Lots of stuff is going in the Zach category. I gave a lot of like 2 stars and 4 stars this month, not a lot of stuff in between. So Bunny is a book that is very weird. I read this for the Disney Channel Games Readathon, and I actually do have a vlog for that if you're interested in checking it out. You know the drill, in the cards in the description, go watch it. Bunny is a book that I don't even know if I could describe if I tried to, because it is a bizarre one for sure. Bunny follows a girl named Samantha who's in college, and she is asked to join this organization where everyone calls themselves Bunny, and there's weird stuff that happens in it, and I can't even tell you what the weird stuff is because like you wouldn't even believe me if I explained it to you. So this is definitely a book that you're gonna read and say like, what the hell did I just read? But also you're gonna have a fun time reading it. So I think that it definitely belongs in the Zach category. Then I read Royal Holiday, again for that Christmas romance video, and I'm gonna put this in the Blake category. It was fine. I didn't really care for it. Again, like this is a really big trend here. I either really liked it or I just didn't care for it. Royal Holiday follows an older couple, which is something that I did appreciate about the book because I hadn't really read an adult romance following an older couple. And so I did really like it for that aspect, but I just didn't really feel like the characters acted like their age. I didn't really like any of the characters in the book. It basically is an adult romance where a mom and her daughter both go on holiday and they visit this royal palace because of the daughter's job, and the mother finds, I believe it's like a secretary or a guard, I'm struggling to remember, but he holds a position in the palace, and they basically start a romantic relationship, and it was cute, I guess, but I don't really remember anything about it, and yeah, that's my feelings on that one. Then we have A Curse So Dark and Lonely, which I think is the first book I'm going to put in the Brandon category. So I gave this book 3 stars. A Curse So Dark and Lonely is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it's supposed to be like an urban fantasy story, or so I thought, and I'm still kind of confused about that. I read this again for my 24-hour readathon vlog, so go check it out if you want to, but I just did not really love this book as much as I was wanting to. I didn't hate it. Again, I gave it like 3 stars, but I just feel like it was missing something for me, and I couldn't tell you what that was. I don't know if it was just the plot didn't really feel that different from the original Beauty and the Beast story to me, or if it was just like that it didn't have enough urban fantasy elements and I was just kind of confused by the world. I just think that this one missed the mark for me in all sort of like levels and playing fields. Like I didn't care for the characters, I didn't care for the plot, but I can appreciate the writing and I can appreciate the thought that went into it. It just wasn't the perfect book for me, but I did enjoy my experience reading it. I just didn't love it. Then we have City of Bones, and of course this has to go in the Tasha category. I feel like I've beat the horse to the ground with City of Bones, but I love this book. It brings back a lot of nostalgia for me, and I really loved rereading it. Same with Clockwork Angel, which is another series in the Shadowhunters universe, following Tessa Gray, who basically is going to visit her brother, and when she goes to visit him, she is taken captive and basically told she can shapeshift, and she's launched into the world of the Shadowhunters as well from there on. And I'm currently reading the 3rd book in the series, Clockwork Princess, and I just love these characters as well. Will and Jem are just so great. Will and Jem are both characters that come into Tessa's life, and she starts to have romantic feelings for both of them, and it's just such a fantastic love triangle. Like, I love a good love triangle, and this one is no exception. Then I read Daughter of Smoke and Bone, and I'm gonna put this one in the Blake category as well. I gave this one 2 stars. I was really disappointed by this one actually, and I just don't really want to talk about it anymore. I talked about it in my 24-hour readathon vlog. Surprising, I know. But I just did not care for this book at all, and I really do love Laini Taylor's other book, Strange the Dreamer, and so I really thought that I was going to love this. The writing was super pretty, but I just didn't care about the characters again, so. Then I read In a Holidays, which I think is also going to go in the Blake category. I gave this one 2 stars too. In a Holidays was just kind of meh. Like, it's a book that I read and I instantly forgot everything that happened. If you don't know what In a Holidays is about, it's sort of a Groundhog Day situation. A young woman named May is visiting her family back home, and then she gets into a car accident, and she basically is forced to live the same day over and over again. She's trying to learn from her mistakes because she accidentally kissed the wrong guy, and it just wasn't it. Then I read Paper Princess, again for the Disney Channel Games, and I'm gonna put this one in the Zach category. I gave this one 4 stars, and this one was one that took me by surprise because once I started reading it, I think I was like 50 pages into it, and I was like, oh no, this is not what I was expecting at all. And I just kind of let myself go on for the ride, and I had a good time reading it, and I actually do want to continue the series because it ended on a cliffhanger. But Paper Princess follows a girl named Ella who basically gets adopted into this family called the Royals, and then she starts to have feelings for one of her new stepbrothers. It was a lot of fun, that's what I'll say. Then City of Glass, we already talked about at the beginning of this video. I'm just gonna slide it up to the Tasha category. Scythe as well. And lastly, we can chat about Sorcerer of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. This was another disappointment. I think I'm gonna put this in the branding category as well because I really wanted to love this book. I thought I would love this book after reading An Enchantment of Ravens because An Enchantment of Ravens had beautiful writing, but I didn't really feel like the premise of the book was what would make a 5-star read for me. But when I heard what Sorcerer of Thorns was about, I was like, oh, this is my book. This is gonna be the best thing to ever like come into my life. That I'm gonna make this my new personality, love this. And then I read it and I just was extremely underwhelmed. So this book follows a girl named Elizabeth who works in a magical library, and then she sort of has to go on this adventure because she gets like kidnapped, and then other stuff happens, and like I just didn't care about it. Like I don't remember much about it, and I just read this. Like I think I instantly just forgot everything that happened in it because it just was kind of forgettable to me, and I am really bummed about it because I really, again, wanted to like it, but I just think that it had a lot of potential that it just didn't deliver on. So that is it for my December wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, let me know in the comments below if you liked how I themed this, if you guys have any ideas for any other tier ranks, any themes that you want me to do in the future, and go ahead and like this video if you liked it. It would really support me and my channel. Also subscribe down below for more book related content. I post twice a week. I also have my Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, Amazon wishlist, all that good stuff linked in the description down below. And without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!